Welcome back to Glenn and Adrian's Rock Talk. I like the dashiki,
Oh, thank you.
and I like the new look. It looks
Oh,
like,
thanks.
you can give yourself a good polish now, like Mr. Clean.
Yeah.
Well, today we're
That's
going to talk
one
about
thing.
Arthur Brown and the crazy world of Arthur Brown, to be specific.
And his hair got quite messy during the
Yeah.
performances sometimes.
And actually, I'm going to let you
We'll
take
go into
the
that in a
lead.
minute.
I knew a bit about this band back then too, but I think you listened to the album more.
Oh yeah, I have the album. I got the vinyl album. I think I borrowed it from you actually. The vinyl album. I also have the 2 CD set of The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, which I highly recommend. It has a second CD which has the singles Devil's Grip and I Put a Spell on You, and it has a whole bunch of outtakes and
Okay.
radio interviews and
So a lot
fun
of
stuff
extra
like that.
things from the era. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
understand they only made the one record at the time before the splitting up, so there must have been extra stuff around.
yeah. Well, there was a second album that he wanted to put out, but I guess the record company eventually shelved it because they
Yeah,
were questioning its commercial potential.
they put the
So
kibosh on it. We're not,
yeah,
this is not going to be a moneymaker, guys. I don't, anyway, record companies.
yeah,
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, they put the first record out, and so
yeah.
power to them. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, like I said back then, I heard it a few times too. And not just you, but another one of my friends or our friends had it as well, and so I heard it around them. It's actually possible that that's the same vinyl. It might
It
very
could
well
be.
be his. I don't know. But in any case, I remember that album in particular. I liked the first side, and I played the first side. I know bunches more than the second side, and it turns out there's a really good reason for that. Right? It's essentially it's a concept side. It's like half the album that they were hoping to make.
Yeah, side one was well, he wanted the whole album to be about the fire concept. Kit Lambert was who worked with Pete Townsend. Pete Townsend did rhythm guitar on one of the tracks
Oh,
actually, but it got mixed out. But yeah, it was on Rest Cure
oh
on
okay.
side two,
Hmm.
and he played rhythm guitar. And yeah, the Kit insisted on having, especially the two cover songs, I Put a Spell on You by Screamin' Jay Hawkins and I've Got Money by James Brown. He insisted on those singles being on side two
Well,
and some other things that Arthur wasn't really too hip on, but it was part of the deal, so he had to do it.
honestly, if you were to ask me, I think that Arthur Brown probably had the right idea, and I think maybe Kit Lambert should have just let him go ahead and make an entire album.
Oh yeah,
I think that would have
yeah, I
probably
think
made for
so
a better
too.
one, a better album.
Yeah, the record company wanted one record with half the concept and the other half with hit
Yeah,
songs.
and that is something. We'll give them some credit. I mean, a
Hmm.
lot of record companies just say no. here, here are the songs you're going to pick from to record for your record for us. That happened to the Allman Brothers when they had the Hourglass.
I guess Arthur was before the crazy world of Arthur Brown. I saw a band called the Foundations being mentioned.
Oh
He
yeah.
was part of a band called I don't know how to pronounce this, the Ramon Sound or something like that.
Hmm.
And after Arthur Brown quit that band, they became the Foundations, which was a hit making
Yeah.
R&B type deal, I think.
Yeah, so he
But
bounced around and he got up his. I mean, in these bands, I think he worked up his persona. I don't think he was ever just a straight musician. It was always more than that,
oh
a
yeah,
presentation. In fact, I have heard references to him inspiring anybody from Ian Gilliam of Deep Purple for the singing. To Alice Cooper also for the singing. And the whole presentation thing. And
oh
Kiss,
yeah.
really.
Alice
We were talking about
Cooper,
Kiss recently.
Kiss, and Marilyn Manson would be a more recent
Yep.
example.
But it was pretty far out in 1968.
Oh yeah,
For sure. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. He almost got burned pretty good one time. I was reading about he had a colander full of methanol on top of his head or something. Some of
yeah,
it accidentally spilled on his head and it
yeah,
caught fire.
Yeah,
and one of the guys in the audience put out the fire with a beer.
yeah. There's a video for Fire from Top of the Pops in
Yeah,
1968.
I
Did
saw
you
that
ever
one.
seen
Yeah.
that?
Hmm.
Because he's wearing the flaming helmet. It's
Yeah, and
like
he's got
this
the
big U
saffron
thing
robe.
up on
And,
here. I don't
yeah.
know what they call that exactly. There may be a specific name. Like it looks like a laurel on
Oh,
its side up here. And it,
yeah,
it was just covered in flames, and he's sitting there singing, and the thing's burning on his head, and
yeah.
it's pretty wild. I'm thinking,
Mm.
well, no, I wouldn't do that. Particularly after
Uh,
what happened with Michael Jackson, or really with anybody.
oh my God. Yeah.
Any
Well,
kind of
this
product
was
in their hair, you
before.
don't want fire nearby.
Yeah. He used to complain sometimes that there was a screw in the middle of that thing that went right to the top of his head and it
Oh
would
yeah.
burn and
Oh ooh, yeah.
be
Oh, you got
really
to put a rubber foot
uncomfortable.
on that or something. I mean, come on now. You're gonna play with
Yeah.
fire. You better have oven
Yeah.
mitts in the right place. Little oven, something going on. You can't be having it
Yeah.
just burning a hole
Well,
in
this was a new thing. I don't think they knew all the fire safety stuff that, maybe Gene Simmons learned or something like
your.
that.
Why not? It
But
has been around since the cavemen. We, although they weren't using it for pyrotechnics until fairly
mhm,
recently. And
yeah.
anyway, yeah, that's man, things people will do for art. But hey,
Oh yeah.
you got a big hit single out of it, and
Yeah.
notoriety.
Yeah, he actually started his visual acts. I guess he moved to Paris in 1966 or something. And he spent a couple of years over there. He was working on the whole theatrical thing with the fire and the road and all that.
Oh yeah, okay.
And apparently, he and the band had to suddenly go back to England really quickly because a member of his band had set fire to a club owned by the mafia or something like
Oops.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, this is the thing. Folks,
Mm.
it's rock music or whatever. That's wonderful. I'm glad you're out there, but maybe
Yeah.
consider not using the pyrotechnics. Or if you'd use
Yeah.
lasers, use something like
Uh,
that. Use something that's not going to burn the house down.
yeah. Well, yeah, like 10 or 20 years ago, we had that thing in Rhode Island with
Yeah, the station fire.
the
Yeah.
station nightclub. Yeah.
Yeah, 100 people.
Yeah. After that, they don't allow pyrotechnics anywhere that's indoors.
Yeah, that's probably a good
But,
idea. I remember back in the 80s going to see AC/DC. I saw them 3 times in the 80s. And the first time was in Massachusetts, and no cannons, for
mhm.
"We Salute You" at the end.
Oh.
Which
Mhm.
I didn't know any better. That was only my second concert. But somebody said, "Oh, there were no cannons because of the mass, the laws here." And so the next
Mhm.
show was in Rhode Island, you know, and they
Mm.
did allow cannons in the Providence Civic Center, and so we saw those, and it was pretty cool. But I was like, well,
Oh yeah.
if we need, it's cool. I think maybe Van Halen's show had some pyrotechnics too. I can't remember from the '84. Very possible.
It
Um,
was sometime before that. I was seeing a Kiss cover band in a nightclub up in Revere or something, Revere Beach, and yeah, this place was, the ceiling was maybe 15 feet high or something like that, or maybe 10 feet high. I mean, it wasn't a big place, but they had the full pyrotechnics and everything. They had the Gene guy spewing fire and
boy,
everything, and
what year was this?
this would have been 1995 or something like that.
Okay,
So this was before the station
yeah,
nightclub thing.
okay,
They wouldn't allow it to happen after that. So,
yeah, good. Yeah, I believe that
yeah,
happened in 2003. I think
yeah,
something like that. But yeah, yeah. So I mean, putting fire in your show is a big deal. But
it is.
especially putting fire in your show, being one of the first people that's not part of a circus act, it's actually in the realm of music. Using fire on
Yeah,
stage is it's pretty gutsy.
yeah,
I
yeah.
notice he doesn't use the
He made
fire
one
anymore.
hell of a. He doesn't use a fire. What?
He doesn't use the fire anymore. Like I didn't see him
Oh,
having a
I
fire
see.
helmet in 2019 in the video that I saw of his show. He's still performing
Oh,
this material.
oh, he's still performing that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Apparently, he's a pretty insightful, thoughtful guy. So there are interviews out
Yeah.
there that are recent. Um, he's not quite as maniacal. At least, well, I mean, now he's something like 77 or 80.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he
probably
was born
70.
in 1942, I think. So that
Yeah,
would
yeah.
make him 80 next year,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, so he's matured and slowed
Yep.
up, and he's thoughtful about how he speaks and all that. But
Hmm.
yeah, it might be interesting to go see him if there's another chance. And I would suspect if he did it as recently as 2 years ago, there's probably another possibility of seeing him do it. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be awesome.
keep our eyes open. As I was listening to this first side, especially, it's been a while, but it
Hmm.
instantly was coming back to me. I mean, the whole thing, the prelude and the nightmare, the fire poem. That's pretty interesting.
Hmm.
There's a lot of
Oh, yeah.
reciting going on during that, and it's kind of a wild thing that builds into a frenzy and
Hmm.
goes right into fire, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
I mean
pretty good. I've heard some comparison. Some people compared him to Jim Morrison for that. I don't know enough about the Doors, I guess, to really. I think maybe what they were referring to was the fire poem, the keyboards in that. You know,
yeah, yeah.
it sounds very Doors.
So it was interesting. It
Uh,
was kind of like, oh yeah, there was a lot of which actually I think maybe the Mad Men theme might have swiped a little bit from. There's a cable show called Mad Men, and its title, yeah, its title song kind of had a little bit of that going on in it. It sticks with you, you remember it,
yeah.
and several of the songs have components that flow through them all. You
Hmm.
know, that might be one of them.
Yeah.
So it's just well put together. I thought for an album side,
Oh, yeah.
it worked great.
I think I know who is on the which drummer is on the album. I've always thought it was Carl Palmer, but I
Oh
read about somebody named I think his name is Draken Thieker or something
yeah,
like that.
or
He
Drake.
was
It might be
originally the
Drake.
drummer, and I think he got replaced by Carl Palmer. I don't know
Yeah,
if that was before or after the recording, but the drums on the recording sound very much like Carl Palmer.
yeah. Well, it's actually yeah. You're right. I'm not sure how you pronounce Draken or Draken.
Yeah,
He may very well be German or something like that.
it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, Europe's right there.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting. I know that Carl Palmer did show up later in the picture,
Hmm.
but then soon after he left. I think he left with the keyboard
With
player.
Vincent Crane to
Yeah,
form Atomic
the organ
Rooster.
guy.
Yeah,
So
the
those two
organ
went
guy.
off and made Atomic Rooster.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you, Adrian, for your input on this one. And Glenn and Adrian give that album what 4 stars? I'm going to give it 5 for side one and 3.5 for side two.
I think that sounds about right
Yeah.
to
Okay.
me.
All right. Very good. All right. So I hope we've inspired you. And if we have, I hope you'll subscribe right down below, right about there somewhere. There's a subscribe button and there's like a little
Yep.
like button next to it. That'd be great if you could put that up and make us feel like, yes, somebody really appreciated our thoughts on this matter and future thoughts too. All right. Well, thanks again, Adrian, for joining me for another one of these great episodes. And
Well, thanks for having me.
absolutely. And we will see you all in the next video. Take care,
All right.
folks.
See
Bye.
you later.